Hey VC, this is Chad. This video is about a experimental electronic composer named Mort Garson. In one of my previous videos, I was playing a copy of this Black Mass record by Lucifer, which is also another name for Mort Garson. Um, this record actually came out in 1971, and it's kind of like an occult record. It's all Moog synthesizer based, and all done by Mort Garson. And this was pressed. There's a few versions, but Uni is the first pressing with these like rainbow labels, a division of MCA, I believe, and I have a few with MCA labels as well, but it's a really trippy synth record. So actually, Mort Garson, from what I can gather, was born in Canada, and he was one of the first artists to use a Moog synthesizer, and his first record is this Zodiac Cosmic Sounds. It's like a new age hippie record, so it's all the signs of the Zodiac, and there's some speaking, basically like different Zodiac sign. They have a story for each Zodiac sign, and he plays the synthesizer in the background. And the record actually says must be played in the dark, so it's meant to be like a kind of like a trippy new age type record. This one is on Elektra Records with gold labels. It was released in May of 1967. I have two copies here, and they look to be identical, except the catalog number is a bit different. So I don't really listen to this one too much, if at all. I probably listened to it a few times, but I should probably give it another listen at some point. So I believe the next record that he did was The Wizard of Iz. So this is basically a play on the Wizard of Oz. This is another record with spoken word over top of his synthesizer playing. And here's a picture of Mort Garson on the back, with lots of patch chords, which is also the name of his production company, Patch Chord Productions, I think. So this one is like tells a fun story about the Wizard of Iz. This copy is on A&M Records. I think it's like this is a German pressing. This one is fairly easy to find. Not the German pressing. I've seen American A&M record copies that are a little less pricey. But this is also a fun listen. Again, if you're not into like spoken word type records, you might want to start with one of the other ones that I'm going to show. But this is pretty fun. Wizard of Iz, and it's an electronic odyssey. So after that, we have electronic hair pieces, and this is a concept album based on the musical Hair. And I think These are all songs that are in Hair. I'm not really that familiar with Hair, but there is some random liner notes by Tom Smothers, which they were like a novelty act, the Smothers Brothers from the 70s and 80s or something like that. But this is also another synthesizer based piece. There's some pretty cool stuff on here. Aquarius, which everybody I think knows. So this one was released on A&M Records also. Don't see a date, but sometime in the I think the 70s, early 70s. So I think after that there is another record which I'm listening to now, and this is called Ataraxia. Basically this is like a follow-up to the Black Mass record. Some of it overlaps. It's called The Unexplained Electronic Musical Impressions of the Occult by Ataraxia. And this is another Mort Garson patchcord production. And this one was released on RCA Records in 1975. This is an original pressing. I have a few different copies, and it's gotten pricey. I would expect to probably pay anywhere between $30 to $50 at least for a good copy. There was a repress within the last few years, but now it turns out on Discogs that it shows as unofficial. So I had a copy of it. I traded it in. It's not too. It sounds okay. I mean, for what it is, but. This record you can listen to. There aren't any vocals besides my cat screaming from upstairs. So there are a lot of hook type pieces in here. So again, there's a lot of liner notes about like tarot cards and astral projection, and just the song titles are like tarot, deja vu, astral projection, seance. What else? I don't know. This is probably, I like this record a lot more than Black Mass. I know that it's a little hard to believe. I think the Black Mass is more like a novelty thing, the pentagrams and all that stuff. But this record is a really great listen. So pick this up if you can. I do recommend this Ataraxia, The Unexplained. So the next one was one of the harder records to find, and it goes for a good bit on Discogs now. Maybe within the last 5 years or so, I think Mort Garson records are getting pricey. I mean, pretty much all records are getting pricey, but a lot of people are starting to take notice. And this one is a soundtrack, and the claim to fame on here, it says it's the first completely electronically scored motion picture experience, sounds and sensations you've never have before. And it's called Didn't You Hear? I've actually never seen the movie before. I can't find a copy of it anywhere. But it actually has a young Gary Busey in it. I think it was made in either the 60s or 70s, but it wasn't released. It was scrapped, and they released. I think I've seen a VHS or something, like a trailer or something, in the early 80s is what I found, but I haven't been able to find the movie at all. There is virtually no information on here. There is no credits at all, but they're on a label called Custom Fidelity, which he's done a few records on, which that's one of the things about Mort Garson, is that most of his records are under a pseudonym or there's no credits at all. So I find that, it goes along with the occult, like the mysterious titles of his records, because you never know, like, if it's a Mort Garson, you might find something, you might pass it up. So if you ever see this record, don't hesitate to pick it up. The vocal track on here, Didn't You Hear, I bypass that. There are some songs on here, electronic stuff like Dream Sequence 1, and the B-side song that is Bamboo City. These are really great electronic songs. They remind me of kind of like a precursor to like drum and bass, or more like techno-y songs, done on more primitive machines, obviously, but it's a really great record. I can see why it's starting to go for some money, but hopefully it gets a repress one day. So anyways, it's called Didn't You Hear by Mort Garson. So I think because of the success of the first, the Cosmic Sounds, A&M decided to do a whole series, and again with the theme of the Zodiac, he released a series called The Signs of the Zodiac, and there is a record for each Zodiac sign, and they come with some cool new age artwork, and there's some like more about your Zodiac sign on the back. These are like those uni packs, they're called. So they're, like a cheap flimsy gatefold. These are all on the A&M records, and I think these were like in the late 70s. Some pretty weird writings and symbols. If you're into astrology and zodiacs, you'll know like the moon chart and that kind of stuff. So again, this is spoken word stuff, but there's some great electronic avant-garde pieces underneath of them that Mort Garson does. So I actually ran into a complete set of these at Jerry's Records in Pittsburgh, and at the time I just didn't want to spend the money on them. So right now I have, so at the time I just bought my own sign, a Cancer, so I went back. I find these randomly, and so I've been collecting them over the years. Right now I pay like $3 to $5 for them when I see them. So this one's pretty beat. It's a promo copy. It's got masking tape on it. So I replace them when I find them, but these aren't that essential, but if you see them in a dollar bin or something, you might want to pick them up. So alright, so the last two records I have here, this one you probably see a lot and you don't know that it's a Mort Garson record. It's called Music for Sensuous Lovers by Z. And this is based off of like a play on I was reading about it, there was a book called The Sensuous Woman by Jay, and this is kind of like an accompaniment to that. Um, this was released on Anthem Records. Again, there's a little bit more info. It says produced by Patchcord Productions. It actually does have his name on there, Mort Garson. And it's just the same thing on both sides. There's really nothing else on here. So it's just these red labels. So what this is basically just Mort Garson playing a Moog synthesizer, and there is a woman moaning over top of the record. So it's kind of interesting. The songs are really, I mean, they're not really songs. They're called Climax 1 and Climax 2, and they take up the whole side. What they did do, which I also have, which I didn't pull, but I have there's a 45 of this, and it's actually just it's all instrumental, so that's a pretty great record if you're not into the woman climaxing on each side. So, but I see this record around for $6 to $10 or something. It's kind of interesting. You might want to pick it up. So my last record here, before I pull that out, I have a few other like 45s I'll randomly buy on eBay when I see them for cheap. There's a lot of records on Discogs as well under different pseudonyms. One that I like a lot is a 45 soundtrack. It's for the son of Blob, and there's two songs on there that one is like a rave up kind of number that they did at a dance scene in the movie, and I forget the other side is just like an instrumental. So if you ever see it, that one's like a radio promo. It's a little harder to find. So it's also, the movie's also called Beware the Blob, or Son of Blob, directed by Larry Hagman, who was in the 80s show Dallas or whatever. So I think I actually saw that it was on Amazon Prime or something. So it's okay. I mean, but the 45 is great. So if you ever see that. So the last piece I'm going to pull out is probably his most sought after record. You will see this a lot on Instagram, probably YouTube. I haven't seen it on any VC videos yet, but that's not to say it hasn't been shown. But it's a pretty rare record, and to find it complete. And that is a record called Plantasia, and Mother Earth's Plantasia. And this is an amazing record. So basically this record was given out for free when people bought sofas and other furniture giveaways, is what I read about it. And it came with a care booklet for taking care of plants, and basically there's like an accompaniment for each song, and the music was written to, grow. It's music for plants, so it's meant to be played to plants so they'll grow. So it's a fun concept. This one is on Homewood Records. This one goes for around $100, I think, on eBay. You might be able to find it cheaper without the booklet, or there's some with like a other sticker or something like that. But this was also repressed like a bootleg out of Spain or somewhere recently as well. So this is a really light, airy, kind of like synth-based record, and I can definitely see, like, you know, it makes it's I can see it's like a warm kind of record. Why, you know, it would be fun to think that plants will grow when they listen to it, because it's kind of, you know, is an exciting record. So Plantasia, and it's the last record I'm going to show from Mort Garson. If you have any other suggestions for Mort Garson for me, let me know. And hope you enjoy this video. Thanks.